Hi everyone, this is Vicky Huang from Bay Street Group. I'm very excited to bring you this one-of-kind investment opportunity, the One Jarvis condo in downtown Hamilton. Today, I will be joining the CEO of Emblem Development, Cash Kashuten, to talk about why this project carries such a unique proposition and how it's going to generate unbelievable returns for our homeowners and investors in the near future. Hi Cash, how are you?
I'm well, Vicky. Nice to be with you today.
Thank you for joining us.
Good to be here.
Let's start with talking about the investment today. So with the US having a new president and the low interest rate across the board, the North American is getting through the late stage, hopefully, of this pandemic. So where do you think is a better place for people to invest today?
Well, I think that real estate as a whole, being a hard asset, is a great investment over the long term. The fact that we have interest rates being the lowest any of us alive have ever seen is also very important as part of the of why it's compelling to be invested in real estate. But for us, as you know, I've spent the last 25 years managing investment portfolios for wealthy families. So we spend a lot of time uncovering opportunities in different asset classes: stock market, bond market, real estate market. And Emblem today is active in various real estate development markets, from Ottawa to Hamilton to Toronto, Leaside, and all of these different markets that we're in, Vicky, we see the most distinct opportunity in Hamilton area. And the reason for that, there's a few reasons, but the most significant reason is the unprecedented amount of government investment that's going into Hamilton. So as you know, $500 million going in to redo the downtown area, where One Jarvis is right in the middle of where that money is being invested. Another $140 million to rejuvenify the waterfront in Hamilton. So there's no other market in and around the GTA that is receiving this level of government investment. And history shows us that when you invest alongside the government, you tend to do very well.
Yeah, we know that for the most of the high net worth clients, they have the dedicated team to manage their investment portfolio. But for the individuals or like smaller investors, what's your best advice to them, both in terms of the capital protection and appreciation perspectives?
Yeah, you know, what makes investing in pre-construction very interesting is that it's accessible to investors that are just starting out even. Whether you're an experienced investor in pre-construction condominiums or it's your first time, the fact that you can access the investment with such a low entry level amount of money is very appealing. I'll give you an example. If you buy a condo for $400,000 and you're putting 5% down each year, let's say, that's $20,000 that you put down in the first year. Well, you put $20,000 down, but immediately you have an investment of $400,000. And there's nowhere else that you can achieve this type of low investment for high growth potential, not even in the stock market. So after you purchase the unit, let's say you put your 5% down, that's $20,000, and you have a $400,000 unit. Well, if your investment appreciates by, let's say, 10% next year, 400,000 goes to 440,000. The 40,000 that it's appreciated by on a percentage basis is 200% of your investment the year before. Nowhere else can you see returns of 200% in 1 year without taking massive risk. And when you're buying real estate, it's not speculative. It's not the same risk as you would have to in other asset classes to achieve a 200% rate of return. So it makes it very compelling for two reasons. One, because investors can access it with a much smaller amount. And two, the investment can appreciate significantly because although you've only invested 20,000 in year one, you have an investment of 400,000 that's working for you right away.
Great. So let's come back to this project. We know that there are not many new developments in Hamilton in the past. So why did you choose Hamilton and particular this one Jarvis location as your destination in the beginning? Why not Toronto?
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, with my background and what my team does outside of Emblem, I mean the First Avenue team, that firm, we've spent 25 years looking for investment opportunities. We know what it looks like, what it feels like, what it tastes like to identify a high growth potential investment. And for us, Hamilton is exactly that. We like to go where we're going to see strong returns, right? And Hamilton provides much more upside potential, in our opinion, than let's say downtown Toronto does today. You know, already even before COVID, we saw affordability was an issue downtown Toronto. And so the suburb markets were seeing a lot of interest from investors that hadn't been there before. Now you're seeing that even more. Last year was the first year that the 905 outsold downtown Toronto. So we believe that this year will be a continued year of what we saw in 2020, which is the suburb markets will do better than the downtown Toronto market. And a lot of it is just because a market like Hamilton is much earlier in its growth cycle than downtown Toronto. Downtown Toronto is much more mature in its growth cycle than Hamilton is. So the same way that Hamilton, you know, you look at where prices in Toronto were, let's say 10 years ago, at the time they didn't feel cheap, but they've appreciated significantly. Today, Hamilton is in that same situation where it's much, much earlier. So you have more growth potential. So don't get me wrong, we have a lot of confidence in the downtown Toronto market. We're actually developing a few projects downtown Toronto. We just think that in the short to medium term, there's significant opportunities because areas like Hamilton are much earlier in their growth cycle than the mature market of downtown Toronto. The other thing I would say is with One Jarvis, we will have all of the same high standard luxury finishes in this building that we did in Art Form, which, as you know, we launched in the summer of last year. And so we didn't cut any corners. We didn't pare back the finishes in any way. It's exactly the same high standard of finish. The difference is your buyers today are able to buy at One Jarvis for approximately $200 less per square foot than Art Form. And the reason I bring that up is because investors can see a clear path to appreciation on their investment when they look at something like Art Form, which was the same product, but $200 more per square foot. So that's, I think, very important. I mean, these are investments, and investments should not be emotional. They should be based on the numbers and where the growth exists. And we see significant growth in Hamilton, so much so that in addition to One Jarvis, we currently have about 1 million square feet of residential under development within a 5-minute walk of this location. So for people like myself who have a lot of experience in identifying investment opportunities, we see a lot of opportunity in Hamilton, and that's why we're not just doing One Jarvis. We have several buildings here, and every phase that we release will be at a higher price point, of course, making it very beneficial for buyers of One Jarvis who will be coming in early.
Great. Yeah, that very makes sense. And then we also see there's a lot of potential in the Hamilton and also other suburban area compared to the downtown Toronto.
Definitely.
Yeah. So why do you think One Jarvis is such a unique project?
Well, you know, as you know, with Emblem, all of our projects, we focus on setting a new standard when we go into a community. So when you look at One Jarvis, the fact is there's no residential building at this level. The quality of finishes on the exterior of the building, all the way through the interior and in the suites, is unmatched compared to anything that's out there in Hamilton. So when you look at the outside of the building, again, you could tell right away that this building would be generally a building that would have a much higher price point because of the quality, right? There's no stucco that's used on the building. It's brick and stone, glass, floor to ceiling windows. When you look at the kitchens, they're all European designed. The backsplash is full stone slab, not tile. The bathrooms, the showers, they're not curtains, they're glass, but more importantly, they're frameless, so it appears like it's floating. There's a lot of these luxury finishes that are all standard within the One Jarvis building. So why we feel that One Jarvis is so special is that whether you're an end user or you're an investor, it checks all of the boxes. And often buildings are either more investor oriented or end user oriented. This building is both. So when you look at Hamilton as a growth market, you combine it with the best location within Hamilton being right in the middle of where the $500 million is being invested. And then you combine that with a building of this quality and finishes and design, and you put those three things together, we believe that it's the reason why we call One Jarvis 2021's best investment.
Yeah, exactly. It's very glad to know that you bring such a high quality project to the Hamilton area. It definitely will be like the key point for our investors to make sure like to guarantee their return in the future.
Absolutely. Quality is something that will never go out of fashion. Buyers, whether they're buying it to live in it or they're buying it as an investment, everybody wants to know that they're buying something of quality. And for us at Emblem, it's just the way we do things. We do not cut corners. We don't bring a building to market. I mean, look, the truth is we could have brought a much more low cost building to market here and it would have done very well, but we didn't. We really raised the standard really because that's our brand at Emblem. And that's really the way that we do things. So buyers here are, we believe, going to access something that's very special because of the time that we're in with Hamilton and the investment that it's receiving, the location of this, right? I mean, buyers here will be able to, within footsteps, access the best new dining and restaurants, the best new entertainment, the best new shopping because of the $500 million that's going to redevelop everything around One Jarvis. And then on top of that, should they need to leave Hamilton, let's say to go to work downtown Toronto, you have the Hamilton GO station 4 minutes away. So it really, as a package, it really considers all of the important facets that make a great investment and a great home to live in.
Do you know if there are any upcoming government planned investment or projects in this area? If so, could you please share some significant ones with our audience?
Certainly. So the $500 million that the government is investing, it's important to note, they're not investing this all over Hamilton. This is going directly into the downtown area. And so One Jarvis is located right in the middle of downtown. So that $500 million is going to be used to redo and rejuvenify everything around One Jarvis. So you're going to see brand new infrastructure, brand new buildings, art centers, theaters. All of this is going to get redone in the downtown core. So it's going to feel like a brand new downtown, from sidewalks to sewer systems to the buildings. And that, again, is very important because money attracts money. You know, the fact that the government announced they're making these investments, $500 million into downtown, $140 million, you know, that creates a momentum. You know, since then, we've learned that Bell Canada is investing $400 million into Hamilton, and which is going to create a lot of jobs. And we know with jobs comes what? A place for people to live. So it really sort of feeds each other. I'll give you another example. Some of the top restaurateurs in Toronto, downtown Toronto, we're talking to, and they're very excited about Hamilton because they believe that downtown Hamilton will become a mini downtown Toronto because it's being built from the ground up. You know, it's instead of having a restaurant that there's multiple locations or a franchise, you know, this idea of the one restaurant location where it's really the best food and people go there like we have in downtown Toronto. This is what's happening in Hamilton. It has that edge, it has that vibe, it has that energy. And with $500 million, that goes a long way to really redo everything, like I said, from buildings to sidewalks. And One Jarvis is located right in the middle of all of that.
Great. Yeah, knowing that, I think it gives our investors more confidence to do the investment in Hamilton.
I think the big thing here with this building, Vicky, is it combines three very important ingredients to having a successful investment. One is being in a community, in a town that is really up and coming. And Hamilton is that. We've already seen it with the numbers. Last year, rents were up about 15%. And the price of condos was up about 15%. That's more than double what we saw in most of the GTA, right? So you have the right city from an investment perspective. The second is the location within that city. being One Jarvis right in the middle of downtown is the best location because of the $500 million that's going to really redo everything within that location. And not to mention that you're close to public transit. We all know how important that is from an investment perspective to be very close to public transit. And here, the Hamilton Go is 4 minutes away. The third piece is the quality of the building. When you're building something that is the highest standard seen in that community, and in terms of exterior quality finishes, interior quality finishes, and you're putting that in the best location, then this is where you really get a well-performing investment. And that's why we believe this project will be very special. And we've seen the high level of interest that we already have seen.
Can you please share with us some of your design inspiration and principles you follow when it comes to design the suite and the common area amenities?
Yeah, so we love design at Emblem. As our slogan says, the mark of exceptional design. We really obsess about all of the details in the building. So I'll tell you, one of the things we do when we design a suite is we spend a lot of time making sure there's as little allocation of space to hallways as possible. And it sounds odd, but the reason for that is that's wasted space, right? And no one relaxes in their hallway, no one watches TV in their hallway, no one has dinner in their hallway. So when you have a developer that's so focused on design and the details, it really can create a different lifestyle or experience for the buyer, the user. This is why, as you know from your experience, if you go into 3 different units and they're all 600 square feet, they don't all feel the same, right? One feels smaller than the other. One may not have the same amount of natural light as the other. So the design that goes, the thought that goes into designing a suite is very important. And we do that. I can tell you that with One Jarvis, we had approximately 60 renditions with the architect back and forth to make sure that every suite was using every inch of square footage, whether you're buying the smallest unit or the largest unit. In terms of the finishes, look, I mean, again, this is very important to Emblem's brand. We use the best. When you look at these kitchens, they don't represent what you would find usually in a building where the suites are in the mid 300s, right? The fact that you have a full slab backsplash that matches the countertop, you have paneling on some of your appliances, and you have a completely clean, seamless design, again, really speaks to how much time and consideration we take to design, but also our commitment to quality, right? I think that's really, really important. So when you look at this building, the amenity spaces, for example, were very thoughtfully considered. What I mean by that is we did not want to put amenities that made condo fees higher and nobody used, but we wanted to have amenities that people valued in a building. So, for example, in a building like this, what's really unique is that we will have a 24-hour concierge and security. This is not found in Hamilton. Imagine you're in a condominium, whether you're going to live in it or rent it out. You're in a condominium that has the highest standard finishes, and you're the only building that has a 24-hour concierge and security. Well, if you're renting it out, there's going to be a lot of demand for that product because it's unique and you can't get it anywhere else. So this building has been considered thoroughly for the amenities, even something as simple as co-working spaces or the gym, the fitness center. A lot of buildings have that. But when you buy it from Emblem, you'll see that these spaces are finished almost like a luxury hotel, right? The way that so it's not always about inventing something new. A lot of times it's taking what's already out there and just doing it better, committing to more quality, laying it out better, the details really, really matter. So the gym here is going to feel like you're working out at a gym in a luxury hotel. It's tinted glass all around, beautiful artwork, black windows all around. So it has that modern but timeless feel to the building. And that's our design aesthetic with any building that we do. We want the building to look, we always ask ourselves, will this design look beautiful 20 years from now? Because an investment needs to age well, right? If you buy into a building that 5 years from now doesn't look good, or it was too trendy and now it's out of style, or it had a lot of stucco on it, and with the weather that we have in Canada, the stucco has really been beaten up and not aging well. All of these are considerations that we make when we design any building from the outside or the inside.
Exactly. I check out the floor plans and the renderings, those pictures of the inside of the building and also the amenities pictures. Everything just looks very gorgeous.
Thank you. Thank you. You spent a lot of time on it. I'm glad that you feel that way.
Thank you. What kind of the unit types and approximately square footage can we expect from one Jarvis condo?
Yeah, so we're very excited about the unit mix here because we will have lots of 1-bedrooms plus dens, which we find do very well, whether you're an end user or you're an investor, because it gives you a lot of flexibility with that den to be another bedroom, a working space, work from home space. So we'll have a lot of that in this suite mix. The other thing that we did at Artforum that was really successful that we're doing again here in One Jarvis is we will have 1 bedroom plus den, and instead of 1 bath, 2 bath. So now it really functions as almost a 2-bedroom plus 2 bath. You have a lot of flexibility. Should you want to rent out the den to a friend or a family member or to someone else, they have their own dedicated bathroom as well, which gives the unit that much more functionality or usability if it's an investment. So the unit mix here will really be optimized and designed for really everybody from the first-time buyer or renter all the way to an empty nester that maybe is looking at downsizing. The fact is, whether you're young or mid-aged or older, everybody appreciates quality, everybody appreciates good design, everybody appreciates luxury standard finishes, and that will be in every single suite in this building. The other factor that's important is 100% of the units will have a balcony or a terrace. So it doesn't matter which unit you buy, you're gonna have the ability to step outside, get some fresh air. Not to mention this location is so close to kilometers on kilometers of parks and trails and waterfalls. So you have that in your unit by being able to use the balcony, and you also have that with the nature trails that are so close by.
So could you give us a sneak peek of how the pricing, the deposit structure, and the incentives will look like?
Definitely, yeah. So one of the things we did is we tried to keep this very simple by coming to market with the absolute best price possible. So we're confident that when One Jarvis releases, there will be no project in Hamilton or around the GTA that you will get this pricing for this quality and these finishes. And that's really the main goal, because at the end of the day, incentives are great, but it's an investment. So it's really about what did I pay and what did that appreciate by? And the best way to get a lot of appreciation is to pay the best price, right? So these will be coming out, Vicky, with starting prices in the mid 300s. And that will include all of the luxury standard finishes that we talked about. And what I'm proud to say is that this will not be a building where we have the sort of advertised price, and then when those units sell, the rest are twice the price. About 80% of the units will be under $500,000. So we think there's going to be a lot of demand for buyers to potentially buy more than one unit because of the fact that it's so accessible from a price perspective. So that's really pricing. Deposits and incentives, we will be very competitive on that. I think when we release on Monday, we're going to release the prices and the floor plans. And you'll see that the incentive package will be very attractive in the sense that this will only be available through trusted partners like yourself. The trusted partners of Emblem like Bay Street Group will have access to this launch pricing and incentives that, you know, when you add it all up, it makes a big, big difference. This will be the best offering of One Jarvis we'll see, and it will only be available to our trusted partners like yourself and Bay Street Group, and all of that will be live Monday of next week.
Thank you, Cash. I really appreciate it. Yeah, so I think from what you just told us, and from the pricing, the location, the finish, the design of the building, everything just make us think this is amazing project, amazing building. And I think our investors, our audience will have the same feeling as me. Yeah, so I think that's all my questions for today. Thank you very much, Cash. I'm looking forward to work together on this amazing project.
Thank you, Vicky. And I want to thank you and the Bay Street Group as well. You know, we work with a lot of different professionals. And one thing that really stood out for us on Artforum was how professional your team is And you guys ask a lot of questions, and we appreciate that because it shows that you're really trying to handpick the best projects for your clients and your investors. And we have that same attention to detail when we design a building. So when we work with other professionals like yourself and Bay Street Group that have that, we really appreciate and respect that. So we're looking forward to working with you on this as well, and supporting you and your investors on One Jarvis.
This is for today's interview. Bay Street Group is one of the platinum brokerages for One Jarvis Capital. So if you want to know more details about this project, please contact Bay Street Group agents for more details. Thank you for watching and see you next time.